Hey guys, it's your girl Ashley and welcome to another one of my YouTube videos. In today's video, I am doing my very first video on a home series that I want to start on my YouTube channel to take you guys on the home building process with James and Camden and I. So this video is going to give you all the deets on the home buying process, when to start looking for a realtor, when you should get a lender involved, what documents the lender is going to require you to have, 3 important numbers that every home buyer needs to be concerned with, and the 3 numbers that every lender will use to determine whether you can even get a house or not. So your income, your debt, and of course your credit score. And I'm going to go into detail as to how these 3 numbers pertains to the home buying process, because they all 3 have different functions or they're used differently. So, everybody always talks about, we should be buying homes, whatever the case may be, but nobody really gives the information, or nobody really goes into detail as to what is required, what the process should be, what's the first step, what's the next step. So in this video, I'm giving you all the deets. And of course, I'm not a realtor, I'm not a mortgage lender. I'm telling you based off of my personal experience, but this is good information that I think you guys will be able to use. So before we get into this video, make sure you like this video, subscribe to my channel if you have not subscribed, and then also drop a comment to let me know what you think. Without further ado, let's get into this video, guys. Okay guys, so if you are new to my channel, my name is Ashley. I'm currently stationed overseas with my husband and my son, Camden. We have been here for about 2.5 years. I just kind of want to give you a brief background just to kind of catch you up so the process can make a little bit more sense. So James owned a home prior to us coming here. We lived in San Diego. James owned a home in San Diego. He sold that. I own a home in Virginia. I bought that home about 10 years ago. I still have it. I use it as a rental and investment property. And then we are currently buying our mini dream home in San Antonio, Texas together. So this video is basically about the process of us buying this home together. But anybody will be able to use it for your home buying process, especially this particular video, because it doesn't change. So in April, we started to, we already knew that we wanted to buy a home once we got to the States. In May, we got really serious and we started working with a realtor. So we worked with our realtor and we was kind of just like looking at houses or whatever. And then we was like, okay, we need to, what's the first step of this process? Because like I said, it was 10 years ago that I bought my first home. And it was some years ago that James had bought his first home. So like you guys, we were like, how do we start this process? So step number 1, I will say, is find a realtor. Find a really good realtor. Shop around a little bit. We didn't do too much shopping around. We were referred to a realtor by a friend, and so we just went with her. Thank God we did, because she was amazing. So when you're shopping around with the realtor, like, everybody's excited about that process, but after you're looking at houses, it kind of becomes irrelevant and kind of a waste of time if you haven't gotten a pre-approval. So the second step in your process after you have chosen a realtor is, before you waste any more of your realtor time or your time, you need to get a pre-approval. So your pre-approval is going to determine how much house you can afford, or how much house a lender is willing to give you per se. A pre-approval and a pre-qualification are 2 different things. The pre-qualification is just basically you reaching out to a lender and you verbally telling them how much you make, what you think your debt is, and then based off of that number, they kind of give you, oh, you may qualify for $200,000 or whatever the case may be. But that's not what you want. You want a pre-approval. So you shop around, and I'm going to do another video that kind of goes into depth about like shopping around to find the best bank or the best lender or best mortgage company for you, or the best lender that's going to finance your loan. Okay, so your pre-approval differs from your pre-qualification, because with the pre-approval, you are actually filling out a loan application with the lender. You are allowing them to run your credit, and then you are also submitting them documents so that they can verify what you're saying, and your finances and your debt and your income is all what you say it is. So this is the verification process. So you submit these documents, and then the lender comes back and say, we have pre-approved you for $250,000. So this is like your golden ticket. They're typically good for about 30 to 90 days. So you have that time frame to shop around for your house. So this just makes more sense, because now you're not wasting your time, you're not wasting the realtor time, because you have a piece of paper saying, this is how much house I qualify for. And as long as nothing drastic changes within your finances, that number should be a pretty good number as to what you can afford, or what the lender will be comfortable allowing you to borrow. Okay, so let's move on to the documents. These documents, I recommend already having these documents in hand. So if you're currently right now thinking about buying a home, use this as your push to say, okay, let me go ahead and make sure I have these documents already saved to my computer. If you need to reach out to your tax preparer, or you need to go to IRS online and print your online transcripts, go ahead and do what you need to do, so that once you find your realtor and you're ready to submit that loan application to get your pre-approval, you already have the documents. So you're going to need last 2 years worth of tax returns, last 2 years worth of W-2s. You're going to need at least 2 months of your bank statements, and then you're also going to need 30 to 60 days worth you're going to need 30 days of your, not bank statement, I said bank statements, tax returns, W-2s, and I cannot believe I am having a brain fart right now. You're going to need, for us it's like our LES, but it's not for like civilians, it's your pay stubs, sorry. So yeah, you're going to need 30 to 60 days worth of pay stubs. So these documents are guaranteed documents that your lender is going to ask you for. So make sure you have those. All right, so let's move on to the 3 important numbers that you need to make sure you understand and that you know what they mean. So the 3 numbers that every home buyer should be familiar with and concerned with, because your lender is going to use these numbers to determine whether or how much money they will allow you to borrow. So those numbers are going to be your income, your debt, and your credit score. So your income is basically going to determine how much money the lender feels comfortable allowing you to borrow. So most people think like, oh, okay, if I got a good credit score, then I know I'm gonna get approved for a $500,000 house. No, it doesn't work like that. Even if you had an 800 credit score, if you only make $40,000 a year, the lender or the bank is not lending you $500,000. Like, it just doesn't work like that. So understand that your credit score and your income is 2 completely different things as it relates to the home buying process. So the income, they want to see how much money you're bringing in so that they can feel comfortable enough to say, yeah, we're willing to let them borrow $250,000 based off of their income. So then that brings us to our second number, your debt. So your debt can affect your income. So although, let's say you're making $100,000 a year. So you're like, oh yeah, I know I'm gonna get approved for the $500,000 loan for my home. Well, maybe not, because if your debt is like 70 or 80% of that, meaning you're making $100,000, but 80% of that is going towards car notes and credit cards and medical bills and student loans, then you're not getting that approval that you're looking for because your debt to income ratio is completely off. Different lenders have different requirements as to the percentage amount that they would allow your debt to income ratio to be. So make sure you are very clear on the difference between the two, how they affect each other, and that's a question that you will want to ask your lender during the process, and something that you would want to keep an eye out on yourself, like how much money am I bringing in, but how much money do I have going out, because that's going to affect and that's going to determine how much I'm going to be able to borrow from my lender. The last number is going to be your credit score. So your credit score is important because it's going to determine your interest rate, and your interest rate determines your mortgage payment. So the better your credit score, the lower your interest rates is going to be. And interest rates right now are like at a all-time low. So if you wanted to get into the process or you wanted to buy a house, this would be the time right now. But understand, the way that interest rate or the way that your credit score affects your process is because it's going to be the determining factor of your interest rate. Not how much money you make, not your debt. Your credit score determines your interest rate. So I'm saying all of that before I move on to step 3 to say, if you know that your goal within the next 12 months is to buy a home, make sure you are working on those things. If you know that your income is this, but your debt is this, start paying some of those bills off. Start paying those credit cards off. If you have $5,000 left on your car, go ahead and pay that off. Go ahead and start preparing now so that when it's time to submit that loan application and get that pre-approval, you're already one step ahead of the game. I hope this helped somebody. I hope that it made you kind of understand the numbers and the process a little bit better. And now we're going to move on to step 3. Okay guys, really quick before we go on to step 3, I just wanted to give you a few tips that will definitely come in handy for you guys to know before I forget. So the first tip is understand that if you are married, even if you are going to be the only person going on the loan, some lenders will require you to submit your spouse's information as well. So they will want to run your spouse's credit. And then they'll also want copies of your spouse's W-2s and tax returns. So make sure that is in the forefront of your mind, that that's a possibility. So when you're working on your credit, it's going to be a partnership. You need to make sure that your credit is good just as well as your spouse's, and that they have good income. All of that matters. Like I said, some lenders will require it even if that person is not going on the loan with you. But definitely, if they're going to be going on the loan, if it's going to be a joint loan, everything that's required of you is going to be required of your spouse as well. So that's just one tip that I wanted to throw out there. The second tip is lenders like to look for like an increase in work income. So you don't want to be in 2019 you were making $65,000 and then in 2020 you were making $45,000. That doesn't necessarily look that good. It doesn't look stable. It is kind of inconsistent, so it may be a red flag to a lender. So just make sure, if you can increase your income from year to year, try to do that. One of the ways that you can do that is, it goes back to a year planning, the year prior to planning to purchasing your home. If you know this is the year, maybe pick up some extra hours, pick up some extra shifts, so that whenever you submit this paperwork for this year, your tax returns or your W-2s, that there will be a significant difference, or there will be an increase in your income from one year to the next. So it lets the lender know, okay, they started here, but they are increasing their income, they are progressing, they are promoting, so we feel a lot more comfortable. The third tip that I want to give you guys Oh, the third tip that I wanted to give you guys, I don't think a lot of people know. I didn't even know this. I was just doing research prior to doing this video, and I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know that. Such a good tip. So when it comes to your credit score, so you know you have 3 credit scores: Experian, Equifax, TransUnion. So a lot of people don't know like what credit score does the bank or the lender even look at. They look at your median credit score. So not the highest, not the lowest, the median, the one in the middle. So if you have an 800, a 700, and a 667, they're going to go with the 700. So it's the median. If it's you and your spouse on this loan, they are going to take the lowest of the 2 medians. So if your median is a 700 and your spouse's median is a 667, the 667 is what they're going to look at. So I thought that was crazy. I didn't know that, so I hope that tip helps you guys out. So the last tip I'm going to give you is lenders look at employment history. So at a minimum, you need to have at least 2 years of work history. Like nobody is lending you $150,000 or $200,000 and you have only been working for 8 months. So make sure that you understand work history is super important. So I hope these 4 tips were helpful for you guys. And now we can really get into step 3. So step 3, basically, if you are building a new construction or a semi-construction or buying a new home, you're ready to either pick your floor plan, or you're ready to decide what house you're going with in that neighborhood and hit the smash button and go ahead and finish the process out. If you are buying an older home, then you are ready with your approval letter to submit an offer to the seller, and they're either going to accept it, reject it, or counter it. And then after that, you will go into an inspection phase. You definitely, and I will recommend, the seller is going to have an inspection, but you definitely want to get your own inspector to come inspect the property. This is if it's an older home. If you're buying a new construction, you still want to hire your own inspector. We did, and I'm going to do another video that's going to get into details, but you'll go into the inspection phase of the older home, and you'll have that should last probably about 7 to 10 days. And during that time, you will be able to determine whether you want to stick with this property or if you want to walk away from it because it's too much damage or there's unforeseen things that the inspector found that you guys didn't know and you just don't want to deal with that property. After that, if you decide yes, the inspection went good, we're ready to move in the process, then you start to get into more of like the titling company doing whatever their thing, and I'm not really sure exactly what they do. And then after that, closing should be around the corner. So I hope this video was helpful for you guys. I tried to make it as quick and brief and to the point as possible. Let me know if you learned anything in the comment section that you didn't know. Let me know if it was helpful for you. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys in the next home series video. All right, guys, have a good day. Bye, guys.